Welcome back. A client left me a Google review and I read it and teared up. And I want to read it to you too. This is from Shauna. She said, Dr. Steph is a rare kind of guide. She doesn't just lead you, she walks beside you. Her presence is powerful, yet grounding, never overwhelming. She meets you where you are and gently helps you meet yourself there too. The space she creates is safe, honest, and deeply transformative. It gives you permission to finally feel, to show up truthfully, and to start shifting patterns that no longer serve you. If you're considering any of her programs or attending Brave Cation and wondering if you're ready, the truth is you don't have to be. You just need to be willing. You deserve this kind of care, this kind of clarity, and this kind of support. Thank you so much, Shauna. Reading that really made my heart feel so happy and made me tear up. And I appreciate you so much for taking the time to not only write it, but put that on Google. And speaking of Brave Cation, I'm so excited to share with you that today, Brave Cation doors officially open, which means you get to apply for next year's retreat in March 2026. Now, every single year, I have the same thought when I arrive there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this group of ladies is perfect to have come together. And I am so excited to see which of you beautiful souls will come to the next Bravecation. And you know what? There is a moment that most women have before Bravecation that they rarely say out loud. And I want to share that with you. What if this is just the way that I am? What if nothing actually works for me? But 5 days later, the same women share, I wish I wouldn't have waited so long. So today, I want to tell you why and what women wish they knew before they ever stepped on the plane to come to Bravecation. So whether you're on the fence or you've been following this retreat for months or even years, I want to speak to the parts of you that are cautious and unsure and scared to hope that things could be different for you. I'm going to go ahead and break down the biggest myths that keep high functioning women like you from saying yes to the most life changing experience you will ever have. Myth number one, I won't belong there. One of my clients, Haley, actually said the morning I was supposed to leave, I almost canceled. I thought, I don't know these women. What if I don't belong? What if they're mean? And her husband actually pushed her to go. And she said she was so glad that he did. And I am too. At the retreat, she told me, I would tell 72 hours ago me, why don't you think you're worthy to go to this? Megan shared, one of my biggest fears was, I don't know these women, what's going to happen. But if I had only known the amount of love and acceptance waiting for me, I would have been on the plane in a heartbeat. Jen shared, I was afraid to be vulnerable with women that I had never met, but within hours, the armor dropped and I felt safe. The truth is that Bravecation is not about fitting in. It's about finally feeling safe enough to be yourself. And that's the environment that I create. The women who come together may not know each other at first, but they leave this with soul level friendships that they never imagined possible. And I know some of you listening, you might be like, yeah, maybe with her, but not me. And I've heard that too from introverts, from women who identify as shy, still deep friendships. In fact, Paulina shared with me, I walked into a room full of strangers and I left with a bunch of best friends. They laugh together, they cry together, they sit in silence and are fully seen without judgment. And if you have ever felt like the strong one, or the quiet one, or the overthinker, the people pleaser, the peacekeeper, you will be amazed how fast you choose to take that mask off when you finally feel safe enough to be you. Myth number two, it can't happen that fast. I get it. And I'll share with you what several women have shared with me. Laura told me if I knew the depth of change that I would experience, I wouldn't have hesitated. It is still unbelievable to me that in a few short days, I could be ripped open in the best way and it would help me feel so much power inside of myself. It was truly an awakening. The truth is that healing doesn't have to take 10 years of therapy when your nervous system finally feels safe. Brave Cation isn't just a nice getaway or a vacation. It's an immersive healing designed to rewire patterns at the root. And I don't want you to just take that from me. Taryn shared with me, I walked in just expecting a tune up and I left with a whole new engine. 5 days of uninterrupted nervous system support can feel equal to 5 years of fragmented progress because you're not rushing back to emails or to meetings or to carpool or to dinner or to dishes or, everything else in between. You're fully and completely held with space and time to unpack what you want, and your body knows the difference. In fact, Jessica shared with me at Brave Cation, I was able to unpack things that were traumatic for me, and now I feel more comfortable in my own skin than I have ever felt. I feel surprised how liberated I feel. Imagine being in your 40s, having felt uncomfortable in your own skin for decades, and it is totally different in 5 days. Okay, myth number 3, it's selfish to take this time for me. Rachel shared with me, I wasn't sure if I would feel selfish going, but I didn't. Others could see the changes in me afterward, and I wish I could do it all over again. I had a very eye opening revelation about my life despite going to therapy previously. And Christine shared with me, I was always overthinking, stuck in my head, and anxious, and without Bravecation, I wouldn't be able to put my family first. This work showed me how to be the mother that I'm meant to be. And Jen shared with me, I almost felt guilty taking away time from my family, but now I see my family needed this version of me. So when women say, I feel selfish, it is rarely about the time or the money. It's about fear. Maybe it's fear of if I stop doing everything, who will I be? If I change, will my family still need me? What if my kids think I'm abandoning them? These aren't questions about being selfish. They are about belonging and safety. And deep down, I think you know this. The truth is, your family doesn't need your exhaustion. They need your presence and your peace. And healing at Bravecation doesn't just change you, it shifts your entire home and all of your relationships. Your parenting softens, your marriage breathes, your friendships deepen. It is truly a homecoming to who you really are beneath the negative patterns and the trauma and the insecurities so that you can return to your life and your relationships with more presence, peace, and love than you have ever known. That's not selfish. It's sacred. And it's how you come back to them with more of you, not less. Finally, let's dive into myth number 4. What if it doesn't work for me? This is by far the most common fear that I hear, and it is the fear of being the exception. What if I have too many issues? What if everyone else has a breakthrough and I don't? What if I'm the one woman who it doesn't work for? And here's what I can tell you. The woman who came with those fears, the ones that do, are often the ones with the deepest shifts. Again, I'll remind you of Tara, and she said, I thought I just needed a tune up, but I left with a whole new engine. Lauren said, within a few days, my mindset completely shifted to life is happening to me, to realizing that I have choice and I have control in many areas. Lindsay said, I never expected this to be so impactful. What I would have given to learn this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, my entire life would have been different. Victoria shared 5 days here was more impactful than a decade of therapy. I made the right choice coming. It was a once in a lifetime experience. And Jen shared, I tried therapy, books, journaling, but the change never stuck once life got loud again. Because the retreat is a deep dive, your attention stays on your healing, and that's why it works so fast. The truth is, the fear of being the exception is a lie. It's a lie that your mind tells you to keep you safe and to keep you stuck in survival mode. But when you're in survival mode, you're not safe. It's just perceived safety. Survival mode isn't permanent unless you allow it to be. It is conditioning that you have carried until you choose to say, I'm done. And healing doesn't require you to be confident or ready. It just requires you to be willing. I want to share why Brave Cation works when other things haven't. Therapy is often squeezed into 50-minute windows. Coping skills are practiced between appointments and lunch and projects and this and that, and usually juggling everything else. But immersion, it gives your nervous system a full reset. There's no pressure to perform, no urgency to rush, no pinging phone to respond to. You're not fixing the engine while still driving the car, so to speak. You finally pulled over. You turned off the ignition and you're learning how to repair what has been breaking down for years. It's not that healing is fast, it's that immersion removes the noise so that healing can finally land. And I want to be clear, very clear about what Brave Cation isn't. This is not a vacation. It's not a spa weekend. It's not a productivity retreat. It's not a mindset work in a pretty location. It's a nervous system reset for women who are freaking tired of pretending that they're fine and who are ready to feel free. And don't just take it from me. Shauna said, at Brave Cation, I was humbled in the best way. Attending Brave Cation and being in a room away from the noise of everyday life made a huge difference for me. In traditional therapy, breakthroughs are hard to hold on to when you get an hour here or an hour there. But at Brave Cation, you're immersed in the experience. You sit with what comes up, you explore it, you don't escape it. And that uninterrupted space allowed me to gain deeper self-awareness, give myself more grace, and start trusting myself in new ways. You've heard it from countless women. Brave Cation creates the change that you have been longing for. There's one thing that every woman says after coming. The money wasn't the regret. The time away wasn't the regret. The only regret was waiting. So let me ask you, 6 months from now, do you still want to be wondering if you're ready? Or looking back at Brave Cation as the week that everything shifted for you? If your gut is whispering, maybe this is for me, don't let hesitation be your regret. We are now accepting applications. All you need to do is go to www.brave-method.com/brave-cation to apply. And I'll put that in the show notes. So if you didn't capture it, no worries. You don't need more information. You need immersion. You need to feel your body soften for the first time in years. And Brave Cation isn't just a retreat. It's your return. It's your reset. And it is going to be your most brave step yet. I'm cheering you on always.